Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to run you over the new work truck. And I posted it online, got a lot of bad comments on how it's not going to last very long at all. We'll see though. So, some of you may recognize the headlights. This is a 2007 Ford F350. 105,000 miles. Very, very good shape. I put the gooseneck in it because that's what I'm going to haul with. 4-wheel drive. Brand spanking new tires. Lariat. Pretty, sorry, the sun's a little bright. Anyways, pretty good shape. For what are we, 16 years old now? So I've already used it a little bit. So it's got some nice little pinstriping on there. I bought this truck for $8,000. See where all the parts are at with a bad turbo. Not that one, this little bastard over here. Still spins. The truck still ran. So we've got this turbo's bad. Somewhere here there's a fuel pump. I don't know where the fuel pump's at. I got shit everywhere. Anyways, so bad fuel pump. This was completely stock. Had never been touched. Still had all the emissions and everything in there. So we went through and put a factory Ford fuel pump in there. We updated the valve cover gasket to the one that won't chafe. I updated both up pipes to ones with no EGR provision. We put a smeding single turbo kit on here. S363 SXE billet wheels. Yeah. So see how that goes. So it came with this terrible cone air filter over here. So I got an old S&B, was able to get the S&B to hook up. We got a steel, like I think it's 4-inch exhaust pipe in here, making this transition. Everything's nice and tight. Worked flawlessly. There's not much transition in here. We bent it with the exhaust bender, so it all transitions nice and neat. That way it's still pulling air from underneath. It was originally pulling this thing closed, so we cleaned the air filter. Now everything's good. So I know that this thing works and it's doing its job. That was part of the EGR kit here. So got rid of the 2 EGRs. Made a bracket for the fuel housing there. 2x2 square tubing off that original bracket. I can't remember what that did. I guess that was kind of the turbo bracket or something like that. So move this guy over a little bit. Put our, still probably got to build a bracket for the, it's not terrible, but probably build a bracket for that. EBP sensor. I replaced coolant reservoir because the old one was yellowed and couldn't see through it. Vacuumed everything out. Left the fan stock. I'm going to see how that's doing. We're having a little bit of, it was gaining a little bit of heat, but not bad. Went through, washed all the radiators out. Got them all nice and clean. Replaced headlights with these Morimoto units. The old headlights were really yellowed out. And then a straight pipe. Let me jump underneath here. So I did look into it a little bit. It's so we got a 4-inch all the way down, all the way up. We wrapped the down pipe. You can see the wrapping up there, and wrapped the up pipes. Oh, new fuel filters, new oil filter, all from Ford. And I still got to check all the differentials, and it probably needs brakes redone. So I think all in all, I'm like 6,500 into the job. And so another 8 for the truck. So 14,500. And yeah, it runs good. I've already hauled one trailer about 20,000. It was getting a little bit hot, but I had just water in here, so I'm wondering if that was part of the problem. Yeah, the engine's nice and accessible. I mean, it cleaned it up a whole lot. I do like it a lot more. So we had a fuel leak on top of the fuel pump when we originally put it together. And it took my guy 15 minutes to pull this turbo and put that line in right there to get the fuel line fixed. And then about 30-40 minutes to put it back together, get everything nice and lined out. Probably need batteries. It's got some cheap, I don't know, O'Reilly batteries or whatever. By the winter time, front end checks out. It's nice and tight. I think the brakes, they shake a little bit. I got to get the inner fenders back in it. Other than that, yeah, we checked for leaks, no leaks. Everything looks good on this truck. The driver's seat is stuck, so none of the power seats work. I got to figure that out. They're stuck all the way forward. And it probably needs a little bit of a detail, but other than that, it's good to go. Oh, it had a spare fuel tank in here. I gotta check that, see how all those lines work, because there's a line over here and some lines over here. I gotta make sure all that's doing okay. And I am taking the bed off. We're gonna put a flat bed on here for work. So, electric mirrors. Everything seems to work except the seats. These headlights are pretty sweet. Let's see if they'll turn on. Kind of mimicking the 2017 and newer ones. I like them. So we put a little bit of mileage on it, maybe 100 miles or something. I was just checking everything over. I'm about to hook up a 24-foot gooseneck and go haul a 2021 Dodge over to the shop. Work on it a little bit. So we've got almost 106,000 miles on this thing. Has an EGT gauge in here. I'm gonna watch that a little bit as I drive. 50 horsepower tune. I did a 175 horsepower tune. This thing was fast as hell. Felt like it was gonna break something, but it freaking shit and get at 175 horsepower tune. So we backed it down to the 50, and so we're gonna drive all the way to the next state over, Arizona, and go pick up a truck to work on over there. And then when we get back, we're actually doing, so I'm in New Mexico, northern New Mexico. So we're doing Lubbock, Midland, Del Rio, and possibly Houston. We've got material to pick up there for my other business in every city. Same 24-foot trailer. So we're gonna see how it does on that trip. We already used this truck with the bad turbos and everything, with the one bad turbo, to go to Houston and back a few months back, and it would derate every couple hours or something like that. It wasn't terrible, but yeah, we've actually already used it for one trip and it did pretty well. So we're gonna see how much it does. It was freaking cooking. We're gonna see how well it does on this second trip. Yeah, so follow along. We'll see if this. So some people say the smeding is gonna basically die right away, and then some people say that smeding got their stuff sorted out. I did look in. I could have bought a night. I can't imagine they're like, oh yeah, the pedestal's even shit. It's a big CNC, huge chunk of steel. Look really quality made. I can't imagine that thing failing. Plus, it's probably mostly people who don't know how to install things. This is what we do. We're good at this. So if it fails, it's smeding's fault. I guarantee that much. So they say the pedestal fails, but you could have bought just the pedestal from them and then went and bought a Borg Warner T4 turbocharger or whatever the hell it is, and maybe been better off. Who knows? Some people say they've got 100,000 miles on these things. We'll keep up on the oil changes, everything like that, and see how long this thing lasts. So, 14, 15 grand into the truck. Like I said, I still have brakes and a flatbed and a few other things. You guys are out there paying 60, 70, 80 grand for trucks to do the similar. Well, I work mine quite a bit harder. You guys are paying 60 grand to go to the grocery store. I'll actually work the living shit out of this truck. This is the third 6.4 that I own. There's one actually right out there. Bad fuel pump, bad turbos, f350. I sold it to one of my guys, so he's gonna start fixing it up, doing the same thing we did on this one. And then I had an f550 that drove the country with up over 50,000 pounds I had on it one time, but consistently over 30. Hauled a water truck 13 hours, excavator with a skid steer, stuff like that. And I love that truck. It blew up turbos twice. So I actually have a new set of turbos. I have like 6 turbos on the shelf from previous jobs that were blowing up turbos on these things. I was buying them brand new from from Ford dealership, and they were blowing up again later. So I wasn't having any better luck with factory Ford turbos. So that's my rundown on this thing. Follow along. Let's see who's right. I'll run the living piss out of this thing, and we'll see what happens. We'll keep you guys updated on this. Like and subscribe. We'll see you the next time.